gonna pick up this key, Havelock. And if you try anything, I'll use this bolt. I'll shoot this bolt in your face to put you asleep. I told you. And now you can sleep. And probably next time you wake up, you'll be in a prison cell to answer for your betrayal.
Who is that? Admiral Havelock?
It's me, Emily.
If you don't let me out, I'm going to make you stand in a corner until you learn how to behave.
Listen to her.
Corvo? Who's there?
Wait, what's the eliminate Admiral Havelock? Nah. It's me, Emily.
Corvo! I knew you'd come.
Of course I would.
Is it going to be okay now? Will I be Empress?
Yes, you will. And your mother would be so proud of you. Alright. I killed 2 people? Oh, wait, that's right. When I was trying to choke out the guy, the pylon shocked him in front of me. That's right. So I guess I accidentally killed a couple guys. Read Havelock's journal. Huh. Alright. And now it's time for the end. Time for the good ending. The end. And this is a really good ending. I love this ending. And I'm going to try and see if I can let the ending song probably play. Hopefully I won't get a copyright notice for it. It's a great song.
Ends the interregnum. And now Emily Caldwin the First will take her mother's throne after a season of turmoil. You will stand at her side, Corvo, guiding her young mind and protecting her from those who seek to exploit her or cause her harm. You watched and listened when other men would have shouted in rage. You held back instead of striking. So it is, with the passing of the plague and Emily's ascension, comes a golden age, brought about by your hand.
So, Piero and Sokolov work together to cure the plague. Aww. There's Callista and Cecilia together with her uncle. Sam and Corvo together working
when
the
your
bar.
hair turns white and you pass from this world, Empress Emily, Emily the Wise, at the height of her power, will lay your body down within her mother's great tomb, because you are more to
There
her
was her tombstone
than
there.
royal protector.
You were her father.
Farewell, Corvo.
I wasn't sure if the music was going to be down or not. I turned the music down to see, because I'm thinking that this song could get a copyright notice. I hope not. But and I absolutely love this song. It's absolutely great. And as we're going to get still images here, of some photos and stuff from the game, which were really the loading screens and such during the credits here. This was a game that really took the gaming world by surprise at how good of a game it really was. The way it blended certain elements of certain games, how it felt, kind of similar to Assassin's Creed, but yet with a supernatural element to it, with the powers given to you by the outsider, and with a really good conspiracy story, and also the whole aspect of you could play your way. You could choose to play it as non-violent and as stealthy as possible, try not to kill anyone, try to avoid being detected, or you could do it in a way that was high chaos, where you just tore through everybody. You guys saw some of the abilities you could have gotten, like some of the swarm of rats and stuff, where you could have just destroyed and killed everything in sight, and how it would drastically change some of the other levels in the game, depending on whether or not you did low chaos or high chaos up to that point. It was really an amazing work here with some of those different elements of the gameplay and how the game changes depending on how you play the game. And Bethesda, this was, to me, one of their absolute best. Now look at some of these voice actors. Susan Sarandon, Lena Headey, Carrie Fisher was an alternate street speaker. Michael Madsen was Dowd, as I picked up. April Stewart, Zach Hanks, Anna Graves. I'm not sure if any of these other names I recognize. John Curry. Yeah, some other voice actors here. But yeah, this game wasn't necessarily expected. You know, it was one of those that was kind of hyped, like, well, man, this game looks pretty cool. And then when it came out, it was such a success because it was how good of a game. You guys just saw how good of a game this was. It became a big success, a big seller back in 2012, a couple years ago, I believe. And it was one of those that it was such a surprising hit that Bethesda at first wasn't even sure if this was going to be a success. They kind of intentionally planned to do this as a one-hit wonder. Just a one-time, you know, we're going to do this one game and then we're going to move on. But because it was so successful and they didn't know it was going to be a success, they decided that instead they were going to turn this into a series, into a franchise. And I love stories like that where a game does much better than it was expected to. And they decide, well, I guess this is not something that we should abandon. We should continue to work on this and try and... Because there's so much lore in this game. You guys saw the amount of books that I read about some of these different stories and these different islands and stuff. There is so much lore in this world that the people of Bethesda made for this. And it was just one of those things where you realize, man, there's just so much to this. I'm sorry, it's not just Bethesda. I also want to give credit to Arcane Studios. Bethesda published it, and of course Bethesda is known for the Elder Scrolls series. But Arcane Studios was the company that I believe gets credit for the development. And this was absolutely a fantastic game that was made by Arcane, and I'm so glad that they're getting the credit that they're being given the task to turn this into a full-on franchise, maybe with at least one sequel. Nothing has been talked about yet. It's been a couple years, and no word has come out from Bethesda or Arcane about whether or not they're about a sequel for Dishonored. Even though they did say soon after this game's release, and when they saw how good it sold and how well it was reviewed, that they were going to turn it into a franchise. But nothing has been said of yet up to this point in terms of any progress or development. E3 just happened this year. Nothing. There was nothing there. So, who knows? Maybe in a couple years, maybe we'll hear something from either of these, from Arcane or Bethesda, that there's a Dishonored 2 in the works. How they're going to do that with the ending, I'm a little skeptical or just curious, because it was really kind of a definitive ending there, especially just there where. They were able to cure the plague. It was a great era of prosperity where you saw the final image there that Corvo had passed on, where Emily now is a much older woman and as a great empress was laying him to rest, saying goodbye to him. And I'm telling you guys, I honestly believe that Corvo was actually her dad, not just her royal protector. And so I guess, it doesn't have to be Corvo, even though he was one of those silent protagonists. But they could always do, some other aspect of it where they pick up another character because I think some of it kind of revolves around the Outsider. Because the Outsider chose Corvo, gave him his mark, which gave him the abilities and allowed him to be able to accomplish his tasks to get his revenge and restore his honor. Hence Dishonored. But, yeah, there's a number of directions they could go with this franchise because of all the lore that they showed in this game that they let you find. There's so many different areas you could go to, so many different aspects of it, and there's still a lot of unanswered questions because they still didn't really explain what exactly is the Outsider. Who is he? What is he? They didn't really tell his whole story. And that's the character that fascinates me the most because there's so many unanswered questions about him. But there's so many, different directions they could take with this franchise, and I'm really looking forward to see what Arcane Studios does with it. And I'm glad that Bethesda has enough faith in them that no doubt they'll publish more sequels when they eventually do come out. So this was definitely one of those games that was absolutely one of the biggest hits of 2012. I'm looking at the case here. E3 2012 Game of Show by Game Informer, GameSpot, and MSNBC. It was a winner of over 50 E3 awards. It was a lot of reviewers and YouTubers included this in their top 10 games of the year for 2012 because of how great it, how much of a pleasant surprise it was for a lot of gamers. And as I said, I'm really looking forward to see where they take the rest of this franchise, where it goes from here on out, when we eventually hear something about a sequel in the works. We haven't heard anything yet, but I'm hopeful that we'll hear something soon. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the playthrough of this. There is, of course, the DLCs that focused around not Corvo, but they did release a couple of DLCs focused on Dowd, believe it or not. They were the DLCs that really kind of told his story during what was happening in this game. In fact, I'll show you right here. You go to missions and downloadable content, you'll see here that there are a couple of DLCs here mainly focused around Dowd. This first one here is the Knife of Dunwall. This one's the Brigmore Witches, which is a sequel to this one. So there's a part 1 and part 2 here focused around Dowd and the assassins, which pretty much is the same kind of feel to it of you playing as if you were playing as Corvo, but some of the abilities are different. Some of them feel different because it's Dowd, not Corvo. And it's definitely one of those that tells another side of the story, especially Dowd's story, because I mean, he was one of those characters that once you got there and you talked to him and you found out that he regretted his actions, that he regretted killing the Empress, he didn't want to do any more killing, that he wanted to just go away, retire, and live out the rest of his years without having to do that anymore. It's really well done, and you can definitely expect. I'll definitely be making a playthrough of these as separate playthroughs. These 2 DLCs here, where we explore the story of Dowd and more so about who he is, what he's like. And you can do it the same way with the main, as we did in the main game, where you can either do it as low chaos or high chaos. And it does tell a very interesting side story apart from the main story with Corvo. So yeah, you can look forward to that, and I hope that you guys enjoy this playthrough of Dishonored, one of the best games of 2012. I hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And as I mentioned, you can do this either way. I did it the low chaos way. For those of you who haven't done it that way, I hope you saw how, I hope I was helpful in showing you how you could do it. And I hope you guys, if you guys ever get a chance to play this, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And thanks for watching. I'm DJ Neeks, and I'll see you guys next time.